US President Donald Trump stated that the dictator of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, let him down.
The US has resolved 7 wars.
I thought the war in Ukraine would be the easiest option because of my relationship with President Putin. But he let me down. He really let me down. Trump emphasized that Putin is killing a lot of people and is losing more people than he is killing. At the same time, the US president stated that Russia's aggression against Ukraine will be brought to an end. He added that he is counting on good news regarding a peaceful settlement in Ukraine. The British Prime Minister emphasized that Putin has shown his true colors as the largest offensive since the Russian Federation's invasion of Ukraine is currently underway, and added that he discussed Russia's war against Ukraine and additional pressure on the Russian Federation with Trump. At the same time as Donald Trump's speech in Britain, the Russian dictator Vladimir Putin, at a meeting with leaders of the parliamentary faction, stated that there are 700,000 Russian occupiers on the front lines in Ukraine.
There are more than 700,000 people on the line of combat contact.
Let us recall that after the meeting between the Russian dictator Vladimir Putin and US President Donald Trump in Alaska, Russia's massive strikes on peaceful Ukrainian cities only intensified. Polish Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski pointed out that such attacks indicate that Russia is not ready for peace. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has repeatedly stated that he is ready to meet with Putin, because only this format of negotiations can bring peace closer. In turn, the head of the Kremlin has also claimed to be supposedly ready to meet, but there has been no concrete action from Moscow so far. Recently, the American president himself stated that the US could deliver a strong blow to Russia through sanctions. The targets would be Russian oil and banks. Trump also confirmed at a press conference in Britain that the power of the Russian Federation depends on oil prices. He noted that if the price of oil falls, Putin will have no choice but to end his aggression against Ukraine. The president of Kazakhstan stated that the likelihood of Armageddon is high. That is exactly how he described the risks of nuclear conflict at the Congress of World Religious Leaders in Astana.
Experts assess the likelihood of such an Armageddon as the highest it has been in recent decades. Unfortunately, instead of constructive initiatives and a policy of détente, confrontational thinking is gaining momentum in the world, geopolitical rifts are widening, and social tension is growing.
The president of Kazakhstan has repeatedly spoken about the importance of nuclear disarmament. In May of this year, citing international experts, Tokayev stated that the risk of nuclear warheads being used is increasing, and this could happen due to miscalculation, accident, or escalation. One of the Russians' favorite threats is the use of nuclear weapons, the quality and accuracy of which is debatable. During testing in Russia, a Sarmat nuclear intercontinental ballistic missile exploded right in the silo. Experts suggest that the cause was problems with the liquid propulsion system, according to Der Spiegel. At the same time, the president of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, claimed that the Russian Sarmat can bypass all modern missile defense systems, as it possesses superior tactical and technical characteristics. Additionally, Deputy Chairman of the Security Council of the Russian Federation, Dmitry Medvedev, lashed out with threats against the countries that most recently joined NATO, stating that they automatically became targets for the Russian armed forces, including possible retaliatory strikes and even the nuclear component. On June 5th, flying objects were seen over Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and the aggressor country Russia.
On social networks, information spread that
it was a Russian experimental ballistic missile called Oreshnik. At that time, Kazakhstan's Ministry of Defense denied the report about the missile and emphasized that no violations of Kazakhstan's airspace had been recorded. The Ministry of Defense suggested that the glowing objects in the sky were the remains of debris from a spacecraft. Earlier, Forbes reported that the Russian Federation had launched an Oreshnik ballistic missile toward Kiev, but it fell on Russian territory. Russian propagandist Vladimir Solovyov found himself in a scandal. In his TV segment about the Russian Federation's army, details of the interior revealed the location of the Rubicon base, which belongs to the elite drone unit of the Russian army. The investigation was carried out by journalists from Radio Svoboda, who exposed the propagandist's major blunder. As it turned out, the base is not located in a secret bunker at all, but in the Patriot Exhibition Center near Moscow, the very place where army shows and exhibitions for tourists are held. It was the details from Solovyov's video, not the official videos from the Ministry of Defense or Rubicon itself, that made it possible to pinpoint the exact location. In May 2025, this center was hit by a Ukrainian drone called Lyuty. Journalist Mel Kaneker revealed who the Rubicon unit reports to.
an important discovery. Within the Russian army, Rubicon is overseen by the Directorate for Advanced Inter-Service Research and Special Projects. This little-known military structure, which has nevertheless been actively involved in negotiations with Iran, may also be responsible for the Shaheds, and for all relatively effective projects of the Russian Ministry of Defense related to modern technologies.
At the same time, the journalist noted that this unit is facing huge losses at the front.
They are frequently targeted by strikes that are not publicly reported. In circles close to Rubicon, the unit has already gained a reputation as a mass grave.
The YouTube channel Popular Politics emphasizes that the command of the Russian Ministry of Defense is turning the civilian facility Patriot into a legitimate target.
And Solovyov can very well expect gratitude from Zelensky for helping the front.
Earlier, Solovyov complained about changes in his life after the start of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine by the aggressor country Russia. After all, he dreamed of spending his old age quietly, but instead he has to travel to the front.
Drones attacked the Gazprom Neftekhim Salavat plant in Bashkortostan, according to Russian social media channels. Explosions were heard in the city and smoke was visible. Something's not right here. The head of Bashkortostan, Radi Kabirov, confirmed the drone attack on the petrochemical complex. According to him, preliminary reports indicate that an oil processing unit was hit. Kabirov wrote the following on his Telegram channel.
2 fixed-wing drones attacked the facility. There are no casualties or injuries. Both passive and active defenses were activated. The facility's security opened fire to neutralize the threat. We are currently assessing the extent of the damage. We are now extinguishing the fire. All emergency services are on site.
Let us recall that during the night of Tuesday, September 16th, drones attacked the Russian cities of Saratov and Engels. Explosions were heard. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine confirmed that the Saratov oil refinery in Russia was hit. The agency reported that the attack took place during the night of September 16th. Explosions and a fire were recorded in the area of the facility. The Saratov oil refinery specializes in producing more than 20 types of petroleum products. It is reported that the plant is involved in meeting the needs of the Russian armed forces. Just over the summer, Ukraine struck 10 Russian oil refineries with drones, disabling about 17% of their capacity. That's more than 1 million barrels of processing per day, according to Reuters. According to the agency, Ukraine has carried out a series of massive drone attacks on oil refineries in the Russian Federation and managed to reduce their capacity by almost a fifth within 30 days. At the same time, many regions of Russia have faced gasoline shortages.
King Charles III delivered a speech and made a statement in support of Ukraine. This took place during a banquet procession in St. George's Hall at Windsor Castle, where the President of the United States, Donald Trump, his wife, Melania Trump, and other American officials were present.
Today, as tyranny once again threatens Europe, we and our allies are uniting in support of Ukraine to deter aggression and ensure peace.
At that moment, the American leader simply nodded. The British monarch recalled Trump's efforts to establish peace throughout the world. The king noted his personal dedication to seeking solutions for some of the world's most difficult conflicts. Interestingly, US President Donald Trump has been criticized for breaking protocol during his state visit to Britain when meeting with King Charles. 2 such incidents were caught on camera by American TV channels that were broadcasting from the castle. In particular, during his visit to Windsor, Trump patted King Charles III on the back. Touching the monarch in the United Kingdom is considered a serious breach of royal etiquette. According to established rules, it is not customary to touch the king unless he initiates it. The only exception is a handshake if the monarch himself offers his hand. In all other cases, it is considered proper to limit oneself to a slight bow or a nod of the head. In addition, during the inspection of the royal guard, Trump walked ahead of King Charles while conversing with one of the royal guardsmen. After such scenes, Newsweek journalists requested a comment at Windsor Castle. A source from the royal family told the publication that, according to protocol, the head of state making the visit always goes first. In the video filmed before the inspection of the honor guard began, it is clear that King Charles invites Trump to walk ahead of him. It also became known that Trump's plane, on its way to the UK, nearly collided with a passenger airliner over New York, according to Bloomberg. According to the agency, the air traffic controller noticed the dangerous approach and instructed the crew to change course to avoid a collision. Putin has dismissed an advisor who spoke out against the war in Ukraine. The Kremlin's decision confirms Moscow's commitment to maximalist military objectives, analysts from the Institute for the Study of War note. This concerns Dmitry Kozak, the former deputy head of the Kremlin administration and one of Vladimir Putin's closest advisors. The official resigned after many years of disagreements with the Russian leader's policy regarding the war against Ukraine. The politician submitted a resignation letter of his own accord. Dmitry Kozak's resignation from the post of deputy head of the Russian presidential administration has been accepted, an informed source told Interfax on Thursday. Friday will be his last working day in his previous position, the source stated. According to analysts, Kozak advocated for peace talks with Kiev, and his dismissal indicates the Kremlin's intention to continue its military campaign. Kozak was the only participant at the Security Council meeting on February 21, 2022, who spoke out against a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. That is why, immediately after the war began, Putin removed Kozak from work related to Ukraine and excluded him from the information agenda. Kozak also oversaw the Kremlin strategy in Ukraine until 2022, after which part of his authority was transferred to Sergei Kirienko. The politician's departure strengthened Sergei Kirienko's position in Putin's administration. He has already taken control of the Kremlin's portfolio on Moldovan affairs and is influencing strategy in Ukraine. The fact that Putin does not want peace is also evidenced by Donald Trump's failed attempts to bring Moscow to the negotiating table. Before departing for the United Kingdom, the US president stated that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky would have to reach an agreement with Moscow to end the war in Ukraine. Trump did not specify exactly what kind of agreement he was referring to. The American leader also allowed for the possibility that he would be present at potential negotiations between Volodymyr Zelensky and Vladimir Putin.